Yep. So we have a senior web developer up here.
Yeah.
He's a Mohawk alumni and has graduated around 5 years ago. And he was also, there is also an international student up there.
Awesome.
So he was also an international student up here as well. And I think you are working for a digital
Agency? Yeah, we're a digital marketing agency called Human Code. Yeah.
So he's gonna describe, what he works on, how we can be a better developer. Do we need to focus on something in our career as being a good web developer, as being compared to an average web developer?
Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you, guys. So good to be here. So I'm going to try to get it shorter, to walk into a lot of questions that for sure you will have. Yeah, as you know, I've been graduated from Mohawk. I started all this journey getting the software development programs, and I got the two diplomas from here, the computer, the technical support, and the software development. So the story is kind of when we were immigrating and starting as an international student, it's a lot of challenges that we have here. One, you don't know, you have to learn everything new from scratch at some point. In my case, new language, new system, how the people work here, and also how the academy is so different from the reality, right? So that comes with challenges in different ways. That basically push you in different ways to adjust yourself to what you want. And that's why kind of the important question for us is, what are we doing these things? If we're just here for the diploma, or we're just here because that's a bridge to get a job in some of the fields, or with something that we're really passionate about. And those questions has to rise in your head every time that you're coming every morning. And I say this because when you're out in the labor market, you need to be in that clear spot in your life to say, I want to succeed in this or the other ways. As you know, the IT field is a huge competitive field. New, beautiful, brilliant minds are coming every time. And it's up to us how you want to make a difference there. So in my case, Mohawk gave me at some point all this base knowledge and understanding how we can interact in our market. When you go in there, I started in Human Code in Imagination Plus, was before, as a simple co-op student. And I was sitting there in the corner, doing my own stuff, as every company gives to every new co-op student. Fix this website, or change the copy here, understand how our repository works. This is the creative team, and this is the graphics, work with them, blah, 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 support calls, and all that stuff. But what makes a difference is why you're really there. You're there just to commit a check mark for you guys. That's the difference. Sorry, you can stay there, finish your job, and move on. In my case, I saw a big opportunity to make an impact. And that comes from my passion to change how we can work in a better way. And that makes a huge difference for me in order to start to cooperate and create teams with other people. And that's, being a team player is an individual skill. Where everybody has the options to work as a team. And that makes me a huge difference to start to implement Agile. Somebody knows what is Agile? Okay. The people who know, it's basically, Agile is a kind of, it's a framework, it's a mindset that you use to adapt your business every time that something changes in your company. And as you know today, in today's business, all these change every time. You need to be able in your company or wherever you're working, even yourself, to adapt to changes. You have to respond in a good way to whatever is planning that has to change at any time. And you need to be able to do that. That's what is Agile. Agile basically allows you to, at some point, to get these options to adapt. So we started on this journey, and I was reading in different ways from the production side all the stuff that we can improve here. They didn't ask me for that. They didn't ask me to do those things. I was something in my heart that said we can do this better. And that's kind of my question for you guys. Why are you doing this? And what are you passionate about? Why are you thinking how this IT job market is? Because it's a fierce and very competitive field. We have people, Canada has a lot of immigrants, and basically it's people from different countries coming to huge skills that sometimes they don't have only the diplomas or the certificates to demonstrate that, but it's a beautiful minds coming here, and that's what makes us at some point different from other people in the world. So when you're going to the job market at some point, you need to think about what you want to do, what are you passionate about, because you need to be able to spend a lot of time doing that stuff. You just stay there whatever 8 hours, and at the end you have to sometimes work more because you need to be able to work for free in some point if you're passionate about resolve some problem. The people who stay there or goes to the company only for a paycheck, I'm pretty sure that they just leave and they don't get it back because it's not any company impact that they're looking for. So that's kind of my quick story recently in these few steps. More than that, basically you can impact a ton of things. I can just stay here and chat for hours about all these things. But more like, let me get back to you guys. What do you want to know? Ask questions. What are you wondering in your minds about how is this field? What are you thinking? What do you want to know? Nothing?
So right now at being senior web developer, what technologies do you most use at your agency?
Thank you. So we use a lot of PHP-based technologies, Lang. We have different projects with kind of mean stack, Mongo, Node.js, JavaScript frameworks. Depends on the projects. We also have another kind of projects with .NET technologies. Not too much. It's only one now that is left there. But it's we also implemented a lot of WordPress, backend, CMS platforms. So we develop a lot of custom applications based on that. Sometimes we have a lot of frameworks in the front end at some point, Bootstrap, things like that, that help us to, at some point, to ramp up the design, the responsive design and all that stuff. That's what we do. It's a lot of cool things that we do with, so I was chatting with Karen before, kind of the way it's going with this AR stuff, we are developing these kind of applications. You only have to go to the browser and then with the camera in your phone, and you can see cool stuff happening with the AR, augmented reality. It's still very early technology, but it's coming. So it's something that for sure we need to look at.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Something else?
So you mentioned frameworks, JavaScript frameworks.
Yeah.
What's your most favorite framework that I've been using new?
We're going with the one. It depends what you want to build, right? Some people use lots Angular in different ways. Some people use what's this other one?
React?
React, thank you, from Facebook. So we normally use for ourselves, we use a lot of Angular. We did a couple of small things with Vue.js. That's another one. But yeah, it depends what you want. Angular we have a very old Angular framework there that with 1.3, I think so. they jump in different Angular 4 and all these crazy things. So it's very new framework. So yeah, it depends what you need to build. But we're not doing a lot of Angular now. Not too many.
I was actually going to ask about the Angular versions, because right, you have the 1.x and 2, and I think there's 4. 2. I thought they skipped 4. I went to 5. I'm not too on top of things when it comes to that, because there's a lot to cover. But so I was wondering, in your position, like what's kind of like out of all the versions, what's proven itself over time that it's reliable and it works, and what's not really stable, I guess.
So we did a lot of we have some projects working with the old versions of Angular, Angular 1.3, so 1.3. Then they jump into these crazy versions because they screw the repository. That's the reason why they skipped from 2 to 4, I think so. They skipped Angular 3. But that was because internally Google was having issues with the repositories, and that's why they did that. However, it's like it depends what you want to do. It depends what you want to build. I know from a couple of people working in agencies in Toronto, like Rainbow, they are struggling with Angular at some points to be kind of stable release, and this is kind of religions in some point, I don't want to jump in there like you like React, or you like Angular, or you like Vue.js. I personally, I love Vue.js. I love it. It's very simple. I like it. It's very stable. But we don't develop too much of that, to be honest. But yeah, it depends what you want to build. You know what I mean? Choose something that it's adjusted with what you want to build and go with that. And the other one, they're going to give you the difference between these two requirements. And it's very complex frameworks now, so they're getting there.
I'm not familiar with Vue.js. Could you expand what kind of projects you worked on?
So Vue.js, as any normal JavaScript framework, has kind of the same patterns, right? With the MC and all that stuff. But they injected something really cool. That is kind of I personally like the approach of how they split all this logic between the controllers and the model, different from the Angular, because it's more stable. I discovered with Angular sometimes it's very tricky, you know what I mean? So the objects are not clean by itself, so sometimes you don't know what's going on in the front end, because you basically console log out this object and see what's going on. So sometimes overwritten and without any reasons. So I personally working in projects, getting that's my personal hobby stuff. I developed an app for basically exchange toys. So you exchange the toys with the different people who has the app, and you have the accounts, and basically you start to transfer this, and that's what I was playing with, basically. But no big deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Something else?
You're quiet.
So up here, there are many students which belongs to the first semester, and they haven't started about the JavaScript frameworks and all this stuff. Do you have any suggestions how to get started on it?
Yeah, this is very hard to advise on these fields because it depends what you want. You know what I mean? Something that people is looking for recipes and guidelines all the time, right? It's something that I'm not against it, but I'm not very fan to. So when you're choosing the different technologies, it depends what you want to do. You know what I mean? You want to be kind of a back-end developer, more enterprise stuff. You want to be kind of the front-end developer, more UI experience, user experience, all these kind of things. You want to be kind of a more graphic designer, developer in all these different AR or game. There's a ton of things that you can do with all this base that we're building. So that's why you have to ask yourself, what are you really passionate about? You know what I mean? Why you start to run this program? You know what I mean? What was that? It's because I don't know, something that is some spirit in your heart that moves you to do this. Because if you're doing this, it's not an easy career for sure. You really need to love this, you know what I mean? Because you're going to spend a lot of time, frustrations, debugging, all that stuff. And that's kind of the question for yourself, guys. It's like, why are you doing this? You know what I mean? So get an answer on those things and start to follow those things. So why you want to choose a JavaScript framework instead of, I don't know, backend, normal, MVC, whatever framework you use, .NET or PHP, or, you know? Sort of frameworks out there that at the end it doesn't matter what you have in the backend, it depends what you want to build. If you want to build an application that only runs for 10 guys, 50 guys using it, you know what I mean? You don't need a lot of backend infrastructure to build it. But if you're thinking to, hey, let's get this scalable in different ways, and let's work with the enterprise architectures and scalable and all these decoupling servers and all that stuff, that's a different story. So it depends what you want to do. You know what I mean? Sometimes the best answer is just a simple solution with JavaScript and simple HTML, and that's it. That's CSS. It depends what you want. It's faster. You know what I mean? So frameworks are training for sure. That help us a lot to shortcut a lot of development. When you're playing out of boundaries with what this framework does, you're going to be in troubles. Because you're going to start to hijack frameworks and it's more headaches than solutions. So it depends what you want. If you just want to communicate something or you want to do something because it's fun for yourself, I mean, it depends on the motivation that you have. What are you strong on? What do you like to develop to?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you like maybe user interface. I have a graphics design background, so I'm in software development now, so I don't know how what I could do possibly in the future combine the two.
Yeah, so that's a good one. It's user experience are always important. It's going to drive everything in whatever you build. So the successful that you have in whatever you build and you develop is based on the experience that you're going to have for the final user. So not just on the application itself, but also to how you're going to accomplish and help the people, the final user, to reach their goal. You know what I mean? So development, you will need development all the time, that whatever you need to integrate with. You know what I mean? Even just on the front end side, you have a lot of frameworks of different plugins and stuff that you can just jump in there and that will work. So those things helps as soon as you're clear where you go. You know what I mean? You can spend a lot of time in the background doing cool stuff, but sometimes you don't need that. Maybe you're building a very big and robust application that is not required at all. What is really important for the final user is how he feels with the application that you're building, how you can help him to achieve their goals. And that's a huge difference in between backends and frontends. You know, before we would split this between database managers, administrators, and just core developers, and then front-end developers, and then we have these UI, UX guys, and then we have the graphic designers in the other side. And then when you start to build these applications, you discover that all these guys need to work together in order to do something pretty cool, something that is valuable at a short time for the users. And then we start to build teams who allows the people and the team members to be cross-functional and self-organized to release something, you know? And that's basically what it's Agile about. And if you're passionate about those things, that's a good trend that you can start to work with. And that means that you need to have the eye very open to how the user feels when it's using some of whatever application is doing. And it's a lot of potential. It's a lot of potential. Because the market doesn't have too many good UI UX guys.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a critical one, and not everybody wants to do it. You know what I mean? Because you need to have a different perspective to release good sensations for the user. And you need to be committed to do it instead of sacrifice experience by functionality. because that's the key. You know what I mean? Some people just get in there and cut off and stuff
Okay.
because it's easy to deliver.
So on a, sorry,
Yeah,
on
go-
a typical
go- go.
team, like how many people will be on a team and like does everyone sort of have their own expertise, like front end, back end? Like what would you expect on a team?
So we need to build teams based on different skill sets that helps in order to release goals and values. So what we do basically is we have cross-functional teams. So that means that we have different people with the skill sets, copywriters, designers, developers, in order to basically build a solution. We deliver value for the client. And that means that that's attached to goals. And those goals depends what they want to sell or what they want to release, you know what I mean? Or just simply what they want to accomplish. And based on that, with that mindset, all the different skills interact, start to jumping in. And we have at the end an initial plan, the goal, that we say, okay, let's chat about this object, how are we gonna build this? Oh, I want this, the UI, UX guys start with all this stuff, and then sometimes say, hey, the backend, the database administrator, you're gonna have an issue there because we don't have all this data, or because bypass that security issue is gonna be huge, and things like that. And then all the solutions start to rise up in these sprint plan meetings that we run. And at the end, you basically leave the meeting with a clear goal for everybody, and then everybody start to work in different ways to accomplish that goal. You know what I mean? That's why it's the cross-functional team, different skill sets working in things. And that has to be very different from working as a group. So you have, it's the difference between being a team and being a group. A group of people just work together, getting the stuff isolated to do something. A team is people who really get their backs each other. You know what I mean? So this is the goal that we need to work with. So let's think how we're going to release this. I'm a designer or whatever, and I get my job done. I have some free time, so I'm going for a coffee now. It's a dude, you are overloaded with something I can pay you with, and the knowledge is start to share between the team members. Now, when you have some time doing that, you have every team member has different skill sets, but they start to be cross-functional and they grow together. And you're gonna have delivering products very good, very fast, and very high quality. That's what it is. Awesome, great question. Something from your side?
Not really sure,
No.
because I just found out more about the specific roles, and I'm not sure which one I would prefer to be. So
How long are you guys in the program? Is different skills, different years here?
I'm fifth semester, so
First
third
semester,
year.
Okay. You?
Fifth semester.
Fifth semester. You?
Fifth semester?
Also first.
First?
Yeah.
Second semester.
Fifth.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Yeah, it's interesting journey. Yeah, I mean, as startup is startup potential. Depends what you want to do.
Yeah, so, when I was at their place in first semester, no one knew that, what they have to do in their life or, the passion that you were talking about.
Sure.
So, on my side, what I did is start experiment with the things. So, what would you suggest on your side? How would you find a passion? Would you start experiment with the project?
Yeah, awesome. Great question. So, every person is different. And when you start this journey, basically you need to understand that it doesn't matter how brilliant you are in something that you do, or some skill that you develop through this time or all this period that you're going to be here in college. It doesn't matter that if you don't have the skill to work with other people. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end, companies, it doesn't matter which company it is, you need to be able to create teams, to communicate with other people. That's why I'm saying team player is an individual skill. Not everybody has that. And if you're missing those kind of things, it's good that you start to develop those things. That's one thing that just guarantees that you're going to be in the job market, for sure. And the second one, it's you're going to start to go through different courses and the program, and you're going to get bored, frustrated with a couple of things. But as soon as you start to find some passion about something, you start to listen that gut feeling on whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? That was designing, that was PHP, whatever. Start to think of that. And start to experiment. This experiment means that you need to fail. That you're going to fail, and it's okay to fail. You know what I mean? So when we have that environment, you need to be able to fail. So my only advice for you guys is to start to experiment with that, whatever it is.
Just to add on to that, I think a really good skill to have as a developer is finding and reading documentation on whatever framework you're working on. So I remember in first semester, I didn't have that skill because I've never done it before. I never practiced it. But as I was going through the semesters, the need for more information and getting it now started to increase. Instead of asking people, I started using Google. But then I ran into a problem where I was reading like documentation that was formatted in a way that's not the same as like reading an essay or Wikipedia or something. So practicing how to find things, knowing what community resources you have, like Stack Overflow and things like that. Yeah. And once you go to the official documentation and knowing how to read that, I would say that's a skill that I would start picking up right now. And it's great Googling really. So
that's a great point. Yeah, it's Google learning means that you need to be able to copy things. Copy things that this is the real time. 12:30. Sorry, that's the real time. 12:30. Yeah. So I have 10 minutes. So you need to. That's a great skill. You need to find a way how to find the right answer. You know what I mean? When you need it. And I remember one of our developers. He was the guy. I don't know how he did it, but he get every time. Hey, what about this? And everybody is talking something, and this guy just went out in Google, looking all this stuff, Stack Overflow, that stuff, and he just came with the answer. Always on time, always on time. So, wow, did you know that? No, I just researched for that. But he always gave that answer. So that means that if you are able to copy, to learn, and testing, that means that you are able to copy and learn. So when you copy, you need to be careful that you understand why you're doing it. Because that's going to develop logic from your side that you will need it in this career, a lot of logic. You need that. So yeah, that's a good one. Search and find things and right. Yeah.
A lot of things developers learn the hard way is to not reinvent the wheel and to stay dry, which is don't repeat yourself, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of concepts, being able to learn what other people have done and actually use it, like that gives you the opportunity to use your time to actually build on it and make it better and use it in a unique way instead of just. I feel like if you just decode something someone else has done, it's kind of just a waste of time, almost.
It's true. Sometimes.
If you're doing it if you're trying to learn, that's one thing. But if you're actually working on a project, but you're also learning at the same time, I would say definitely building on what others have already built. So.
True.
So right now I am in a course where I'm building a piece of software for, well, in my case, for the Dean of Engineering, and I'm leading a team right now. But I'm having trouble keeping this team, my particular stack I'm using. Is there any tips you can give me, how to teach a team how to lead a team, a development team?
You're really smart.
Thank you.
It's so people, when you work with people, you need to identify what is the common denominator, why they are there. So if they are developing a project on more in the school or whatever, you need to identify what are that thing that they love to do, what they do better, So something that I use a lot with teams are I ask questions. I ask a lot of questions in order to get some insights out. You know what I mean? So, why are we doing this? What is the goal of this?
To make some software, to make something that the dean can use, basically.
Okay. So, what is what would be the big degree recompensation for them when you build the software? The final user, does somebody use that? That you're getting a life better for them, or you're just doing this because it's a node or something?
Each unit to basically improve his work in a way, so to organize his work better.
Awesome. So, I would say communication is very important, and that means that everybody needs to be able and confident to open what they think about, whatever it is. And that means that the team or everybody environment, you need to create an environment first. So to create an environment means that you need to be sure that everybody understands what they are playing and where are they playing with. You know what I mean? Once you have that environment in place, they feel good, they feel quiet, they feel confident in some point. They know each other. And then you start to set up some kind of mindset. Mindset where, guys, it's okay to fail. It's okay to test. Test itself means that you are able to fail. And if you fail, it's okay that you learn new things. But the beauty is that the whole team needs to be compromised, and at some point they are accountable to whatever you're doing together, you're getting your backs together. And that means that they need to start to know better each other. Skills, right? Moods, feelings, all these kind of things are important. So when you open the conversation to that, the team is going to you're going to start to build a team basically. And they start to set up small goals. So when you're working together, say, hey guys, let's get today, what we're going to do today. Well, this is kind of our goal. Okay, let's set a goal from the beginning. Let's go through, and at the end, review what you did. You know what I mean? When you review that, they're going to start to get the mindset, what they failed, or what they did great. You know what I mean? So it's always something to improve. And it's always something that they can celebrate as a success. So when you get those things, they start to learn each other, how to do it better for the next time. And the next goal, you're going with the same. What we're going to do today. We did it. We didn't commit it. Or what we didn't accomplish. That's
So,
kind of thing.
so in my case, I'm using GitHub. So we're getting like pull requests and stuff. We're using like the project board so that you can see what tasks that each person is doing.
Yeah.
So I do it like that. I assign a person a certain task and I just keep track of them. I tell them if they need help, just ask me. I just keep track on the certain thing they're doing. Is that a good way?
I'm not a fan to assign tasks because the people needs to be some motivation that they can volunteer for a task. It's different when somebody tells you, you have to do this. And it's different when somebody just jumps and says, hey, I want to do this. You know? So when you want to do that, it's because you have a passion, something that motivates you to get that done. And that's a different result through the process. So when you're doing that, you're building confidence to the people who's working with you. And at the end, they're going to accomplish something that they volunteer to. You know what I mean? So avoid assigning tasks, that would be my first advice. And get everybody together and say, this is our goal. How you guys think that we can reach this? How we can accomplish this? Oh, what about this? What about that? Take notes, put it in the wall, some post-it notes if you want some post-it there. And then you can have something that they can start to use. And say, who wants to do this? Nobody? Come on. Okay, I can volunteer for it. What about the other one? So the people start to jump in, and you're going to have a team. So that helps. Something else before we jump in with you? Somebody else? Good?
Yeah, that would be the last question.
That's fine.
Actually, I just wanted to give another maybe suggestion to how he could help his team. So you can also try and get them together and collaborate. So they have the problem right in front of them. Maybe instead of deciding yourself what the stack should be and what and how we're going to solve this problem. Maybe by including them in that conversation and say, okay, how would you guys solve this particular problem? What framework would you use? And usually they would pick frameworks that they're familiar with or they at least know about. And maybe perhaps even frameworks that they're actually passionate about working on. So if you include them in the conversation, okay, this is a problem and these are the requirements, what kind of frameworks do you guys, would you use to solve this? And you can maybe stitch a few things together and get a full solution that uses components from that came from different people in the team, and you'll still also have that feeling of, oh, I picked it. I wasn't told to use this technology. I was involved in actually choosing it. And I think everybody will have to compromise with learning new things that they may not like, and also being able to use and improve on things they do know and love. So
Keep in mind that it's technologies are attached to goals. So when you open the conversation at some point to, when you attach your solution to technology, what kind of technology you're gonna use to, that's a risk path, because you're gonna limit, in some point you're gonna have limitations with what you're gonna be, what your outcome will be. You know what I mean? Because you start to adapt to whatever predefined framework or whatever it is doing, instead of release great solutions, because the technology is limited. That's why it's important that you get a goal in mind without thinking the how you're going to build it. Get the solutions out, the big things that you want to release, the dream, the big ones, the low ones, all this stuff, all the brainstorms from different skill sets. Keep in mind that when you have the right people in the team or in the room, you're going to come with a ton of different ideas. And that's going to bring a beautiful solution, a great solution. How you're going to build it, that's a different story. That's where the magic happens. You know what I mean? Because when you restrict it to the how before you come up with the solution, you're gonna trim a lot of cool stuff that is gonna make a difference in your product. So that would be my kind of advice on that. You know what I mean? It's great when you have technology, and maybe they say we can get this very quickly with these frameworks. I have experience with it. Let's do it right now. You know what I mean?
sometimes it works out perfectly. The person that you're working with wants to use a framework that he already knows about, and it happens to be like one of the top 3 best frameworks for this kind of project. And sometimes it's not. So obviously, by including them in the conversation, you can actually get all the ideas together and then cherry pick the ones you think are great, and end up with a good solution, like you said you wanted, but also some, basically what I guess what I was trying to say was, don't make it a dictatorship and just tell people, okay, we're using this for the stack.
Yeah.
Use that. If you don't like it, whatever. Yeah. So.
Never. People is different, right? People works based on motivations, not on limitations. So that's awesome. I think that's it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us.